In this video, we will show you how to set up an OPC data source in TDengine. Specifically, we will be setting up an OPC-UA data source. TDengine does support several other data sources such as OPC-DA, MQTT, among many others. So the first thing we're going to do is sign into TDengine Cloud. This is at cloud.tdengine.com. I'm just going to sign in. And this is the dashboard that you will see when you sign into TDengine Cloud. I am now going to go to the data in. This is where we set up data sources. So I'm going to set up an OPC data source. This OPC data source is actually sitting behind my firewall, and it is essentially an OPC simulator. And this simulator is running on a VM here, which is behind my firewall. That's the OPC simulator. It's basically simulating solar panels. This simulator is made by a company called Prosys. It's free to download if you want to try it out on your own. Because this OPC server is sitting behind a firewall, I need to install an agent behind my firewall as well. And I'm going to install that agent on this server, which is also sitting behind my firewall in my local network. And I will show you how we can set up the agent and then set up the OPC data source as well. I'm going to give this a name. And I'm going to choose my OPC-UA data source. This just tells you that this is going to charge you an extra amount per month based on your plan. And now I have to select an agent, but I haven't set up an agent yet, so I am going to set up a new agent. Setting up a new agent is a very simple process. You will download this TAOSX agent software to the local machine. If you have Linux, you can use Linux or Windows, and then you decompress the package and run the install.sh file. I have actually already downloaded that to the server on which I'm going to install. So you can see that this directory, which I've uncompressed from this package, I will switch to this directory, and I'm going to run. And so this is already done. And now I'm going to go back here and copy that command and run it, just to make sure it's installed correctly. And looks like it is. It's the right version, 3303. I'm going to click next. I'm going to give this agent a name. And now I have to copy this endpoint, which is the URL for my instance, and then this token that is generated by the server. And I'm going to copy that to the agent.toml file. And I can just enter that over here. So I'm done with that. I'm going to save it. I now have to start the TAOSX agent. This is the command for Linux. I'm going to copy that. I can check to see if it's been started. Yes, looks like the agent has started. I'm going to go ahead and click on this check agent connection button, and you can see it's successfully connected. I can now hit finish. And I've now set up the agent. I'm now going to select the target database. I'm going to select a database that I created previously, but you can of course click on create database and create a new database as well. Now I needed to connect to my OPC server, which is running on this box on TD-Form2, and I happen to have that just saved over here for ease. So I'm going to copy. And I don't have any security set up, and I don't have any authentication set up, just to make it easier. I'll now click on check connection to make sure the OPC server and the agent are reachable, and you can see that the data source is reachable. I now want to get the data points that I want to monitor and tell the TDengine OPC-UA connector which data points it should be monitoring. And the easiest way to do that is to actually download the data points into a CSV file and then configure the tags appropriately and then upload that to the data connector. So you just have to click on download data points, give it the root node. In this case, my root node happens to be that. So I'm going to copy that And I'm going to erase that because that's not needed. And you can see it's downloaded a file called allnodes.csv. And I had previously downloaded this as well and changed the name. So this is the same file, and I'm going to show you this file right now. So when you first download the file, it's actually in a slightly different format. You can see that what it does have is the point IDs, whether it's enabled, the super table that TDengine pre-fills, and then the subtable names and how they should be named, and then the value column. It has some other information like the name of the timestamp column, the name of the receive timestamp column, and also the name of the actual parameter. There are some other tags that we wanted to add to this, and I've already done that in the other file. So what I've done here is I've changed the super table name to say Solar Farms OPC, and I've also changed the template for the subtable names to be the panel, the namespace, and then the ID. I've left everything else pretty much the same. What I've added tags like the site name, the string, and then the panel ID. And you can see that it goes, you know, for ambient temperature, wind speed, power output, current, and voltage. These all go to panel 0, and then it's panel 1 on string 0. And then if I move further down the line here, you see that it starts with string 1, panel 0, and then ends up with, of course, string 9 and panel 9. And so that's how this is configured to add the extra tag information to it, so that there is some context that's preserved in TDengine. I'm now going to upload this. And it'll tell me that the CSV file is valid. And I'm going to leave the collect mode to be subscribed. There are 2 different modes. You can always look up what these 2 different modes mean. And that's pretty much it. There are some advanced options here, such as the log level and the batch size and so on, and whether you want to keep the raw data and the number of days you want to keep the raw data. And I'm going to hit add here. I'm not going to keep this, but you could. And now this has been created and it's been queued. I'm going to hit refresh to see if it's running. And you can see that it's created the Solar Farms OPC with a total of 500 subtables. And if I look at the configuration of each of these subtables, you can see that it's storing the quality and the values, and then it's also storing the actual parameter, which is the ambient temperature in this case, which site it is, which string it is, and which panel it is. That's how OPC-UA is configured automatically in TDengine, and this is how you set up OPC-UA to be ingested into TDengine using the built-in TDengine OPC-UA connector.